Ladies, if you're over 60 and dating or hoping to be in one, there are 5 subtle habits you need to stop immediately if you don't want to quietly push a good man away. Welcome back to Journey After 60. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Have you ever found yourself wondering why a man suddenly lost interest, even when everything seemed to be going just fine? One moment, he's texting you all day, making plans, showing affection, and the next, he's distant, distracted, or worse, he disappears without a word. It's confusing. It's painful. You replay every conversation, searching for clues, asking yourself what went wrong. But the truth is, men rarely speak up about the quiet habits that turn them off. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they don't want conflict. And sometimes they simply don't know how to explain it. But these habits matter, and they run deeper than surface-level annoyances. Today, I'm going to share 5 behaviors that many women unknowingly bring into relationships, especially later in life, that men secretly find, well, disgusting. And I use that word intentionally because while these habits may seem small, they trigger something emotionally unpleasant that makes a man pull back, even if he doesn't fully understand why. Before we dive in, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. This is where we explore the unspoken truths of dating after 60. What men really want, and how to create love that feels easy, grounded, and real. Now, let's start with the very first habit, a subtle behavior that may be pushing men away without you even realizing it. Habit number 1, seeking constant reassurance. For many women over 60, this can be one of the most quietly damaging habits in relationships. By this stage of life, you've been through enough to know your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. And yet, sometimes questions that seem harmless, like, "Do you still like me?" or gentle prompts just to hear a reassuring response, become a habit we don't even notice. To men, this creates a feeling of pressure. It sends the message that you're unsure of your own value, when, in reality, the most attractive quality you can embody at this age is calm, quiet confidence that doesn't seek external validation. I have a dear friend, now in her mid-60s. People often tease her about how charming and well-dressed her husband always looks. "Aren't you afraid of losing him?" they ask. She just smiles and replies, "I've never lived in fear of losing my husband. I focus on enjoying my own life. I work out, I take dance classes, I read, I spend time with my friends." That sense of self-assurance and freedom is exactly what makes her husband admire her even more. He chooses to cherish her, not out of obligation, but from genuine love and admiration. Confidence at this age doesn't shout. It shows up in the calm way you speak, the smile that doesn't ask for attention, the quiet grace in your posture. It says, "I am whole on my own, and being with me is a privilege, not a responsibility." As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And the moment you stop needing someone else to validate your worth, you become that rare, unforgettable woman over 60. Quietly magnetic, effortlessly composed, impossible to ignore. But that's just one part of the emotional iceberg. There's another habit that silently erodes connection, and it has everything to do with how we manage our feelings. Habit number 2. Oversharing and emotional whiplash. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That wisdom is especially true when it comes to love after 60. The greatest challenge often isn't what men do, it's how we handle our own emotional world. One of the habits that quietly chips away at attraction is emotional oversharing or volatility. It might show up as sharing too much too soon, spilling your entire life story, your wounds, your worries, before trust has had time to grow. Or it can manifest as mood swings, cheerful one day, withdrawn or irritated the next, leaving a man unsure which version of you he'll get. Men aren't looking for emotionless women. In fact, they're drawn to warmth, openness, and vulnerability. But what makes them uneasy is unpredictability. If your presence starts to feel more stressful than soothing, they'll begin to back away. At this age, men crave peace more than anything, and are deeply attracted to women whose emotional world feels grounded and steady. Think of emotions like a symphony. If every instrument plays at full volume all the time, the music becomes overwhelming. But when there's rhythm, pauses, harmony, it becomes beautiful. Relationships are the same. Emotion needs pacing. Sharing needs space to breathe. Love after 60 isn't a race to unload your life story. It's like reading a beautiful book, one chapter at a time, leaving room for curiosity and connection to grow. That doesn't mean hiding who you are. It means respecting your emotions enough to share them with grace and self-awareness. Emotional stability doesn't mean perfection. It simply means giving a man the quiet confidence that no matter what life brings, he can still recognize the woman beside him. And it's from that safety that real attraction, respect, and lasting love begin to bloom. Have you ever experienced this? Where opening up too quickly or emotional shifts made things more complicated than they needed to be? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might help another woman reflect, grow, and build more peace in her love life after 60. Habit number 3. Controlling behavior. There's one habit that slowly drains a man's admiration and respect, and yet it often hides in plain sight. It's the urge to control. This doesn't always show up as harsh ultimatums or strict demands. More often, it's far more subtle. It appears as a constant need to manage outcomes, organize every detail, or intervene just to make sure everything goes your way. Controlling behavior can wear the disguise of care or attentiveness, but underneath it, a man often feels pressure. He may feel directed rather than desired, monitored rather than trusted. And slowly, that tension chips away at the desire to stay close. This is where Lao Tzu's words ring true. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. In love, true strength doesn't lie in controlling another. It lies in the ability to let go, to trust, and to master your own energy. A high-value woman doesn't need control to feel secure. Instead of forcing an outcome, she becomes the outcome a man deeply desires. Instead of demanding attention, her presence naturally invites it. Letting go of control doesn't mean being passive or accepting less than you deserve. It means trusting your own worth deeply enough to let a man show up for you in his way. You create space for genuine connection. You allow a man to choose you freely, without the invisible strings of expectation tugging at him. And that freedom, that space, is where real attraction lives. When a man feels like he has room to pursue you, to give in the way he wants to, his desire intensifies. His efforts become sincere. His presence becomes more meaningful. From this moment on, release the need to control. Become the invitation, not the instruction. Be the woman whose inner confidence creates an irresistible pull, a pull no man can ignore. But as harmful as control can be, there's another habit that drains attraction just as quietly, one that often hides beneath the disguise of safe connection, yet slowly kills the spark between two people. Habit number 4, gossip and negativity. There's a quiet test every man gives, and he never says a word. He listens to how a woman talks about others when she thinks it doesn't matter. Over coffee, during dinner, and passing moments, her words reveal more about her spirit than she realizes. I once met a gentleman during a casual round of golf, and he told me a simple but unforgettable story. He had met a woman he admired deeply. She was elegant, intelligent, and seemed to have a warm heart. But on their very first outing, most of her conversation centered around gossip. She spoke about conflicts with friends, complaints about neighbors, and harsh remarks about her own family. He listened politely, but later he said something that stayed with me. If she talks this way about them, what will she say about me? And just like that, his interest ended. That's the power gossip and negativity have, especially in dating after 60. It's not just idle talk. To a man, it signals drama, distrust, and a lack of inner peace. At this stage in life, emotional safety is one of the most valued qualities men seek. They want a partner whose presence feels like shelter, not a storm. Gossip makes him feel like he could be the next target. That quiet fear kills attraction in its tracks. But when a woman chooses words of dignity, everything shifts. Instead of tearing others down, she lifts them up. Instead of spreading stories, she shares insights, encouragement, and thoughtful perspectives. This doesn't mean pretending life is perfect. It simply means showing restraint, grace, and kindness in the way you speak. And when you do, you don't just earn a man's trust. You create an atmosphere where respect and admiration naturally flourish. A woman who speaks with elegance becomes unforgettable. Her words are remembered not because they sting, but because they soothe. And in the world of mature love, this is one of the most overlooked secrets of attraction. A man feels closer to a woman who speaks as if her voice is a gift, not a weapon. So protect your words, because they are mirrors. They reflect not just how you see others, but how you see yourself. And when your voice carries warmth instead of poison, you become the woman a man wants to stay close to. Sometimes negative energy doesn't stop at a bit of gossip or a few harmless stories. It can become a deeply rooted habit, weaving itself into every meal, every conversation, every glance. Habit number 5. Complaining too much. I once shared a dinner table at a year-end gathering with an older couple who had been together for decades. The woman was striking: silver hair, neatly styled, elegant posture, a strong, commanding presence. But throughout the evening, every topic somehow became a complaint. She criticized her children, expressed constant worry about her health, grumbled about politics, and even sighed heavily about the pace of the waitstaff. At first, her partner smiled politely, nodding, offering quiet reassurances. But as the evening wore on, his shoulders slowly slumped. By dessert, the light in his eyes had faded. He wasn't tired from age. He was exhausted from carrying the weight of constant negativity. That is the hidden danger of complaining too much. In Love After 60, connection isn't built on how we look. It's built on how we make others feel. Men crave a partner who lightens life's burdens, not one who adds to them. When every conversation turns into a list of grievances, your presence slowly becomes associated with heaviness rather than joy. And even if he never says a word, inside he begins to feel drained, defeated, done. What men don't expect is a woman who's smiling all the time for no reason. They know life isn't perfect, but what wears them down is a relationship where no matter what they do, it never seems good enough. That constant undercurrent of criticism is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. But there's another way. Instead of complaining, try reframing your words with intention. For example, instead of, "You never listen to me," try, "I feel really connected to you when you look into my eyes while I'm speaking." Or, rather than, "This house is always a mess," try, "I feel so peaceful when the kitchen is clean." One sentence can shut a man down. Another can open a door to closeness. The truth is, joy is contagious. When you shift your energy from complaints to gratitude, even for the small things, men feel it. And more importantly, you feel it. Life gets lighter. Love becomes more accessible. Because at the end of the day, your words are like seeds. Complaints plant resentment. Gratitude plants attraction. And the garden of love you grow will come from the seeds you choose to plant. Have you ever sat beside someone who, after just a few minutes of talking, made the whole room feel heavier with their complaints? Or maybe you've experienced the shift that happens when you focus on what's working, not what's wrong. Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the seed of hope someone else has been waiting for. When we look closely at these 5 habits, seeking constant reassurance, oversharing and emotional whiplash, controlling behavior, gossip and negativity, and complaining too much. We're really looking at how we view ourselves. Each one of these habits is rooted in fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of not being heard, the fear of losing control. But what men truly crave in love after 60 isn't perfection, it's presence. They're drawn to a woman whose energy feels calm, confident, and steady. The beautiful thing about this stage in life is that we know ourselves more deeply than ever before. We've lived through love and loss, joy and disappointment, and with that wisdom comes the power to choose differently. The need for constant reassurance can soften into quiet self-assurance. Emotional swings can be replaced with emotional steadiness. Complaints can shift into constructive, compassionate communication. Control can give way to trust. Gossip can turn into grace. None of these changes require you to become someone else. They simply invite you to return to the woman you've always been, when fear isn't speaking for you. A woman who is centered, magnetic, and deeply worthy of love. And when you lead with that energy, men feel it. They may not know how to put it into words, but they are drawn to you because you make them feel respected, grounded, and alive. So if you recognized yourself in any of these habits, let that awareness be a gift, not a burden. Growth begins the moment we see clearly. And from that moment forward, love has a new opportunity to take root. If this message resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need a gentle reminder that love, connection, and grace don't fade with age, they deepen. Take good care of yourself, and always remember, it's often the smallest words that leave the biggest impact. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.